The stars looked peaceful through the viewing window of the aurora. Captain Lee Jiwoo stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the distant lights. She had been in space for 3 years now, but the beauty never got old. Her mission was simple: find new worlds, make friends with aliens, bring peace to the galaxy. Earth had finally mastered faster-than-light travel, and humans were eager to meet their neighbors. Jiwoo was 32 years old, with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She wore the gray uniform of Earth's diplomatic fleet. The uniform had a small flag patch on the shoulder. It showed Earth, the planet she called home. She had earned this command through hard work and dedication. Now she led a crew of 20 brave souls into the unknown. "Captain, we're approaching the Theta 9 system," said Kim Tae-yang from the pilot's seat. He was young, only 25, but he could fly anything with engines. His hands moved smoothly over the controls. The Aurora responded like it was part of his own body. "Good work, Tae-yang," Jiwoo said. "Park Hana, what do the sensors show?" Park Hana sat at the engineering station, her eyes scanning multiple screens. She was brilliant with technology. At 30 years old, she could fix or hack almost anything. 3 planets in the habitable zone, she reported. "Wait, I'm picking up something else." Multiple ships, big ones. Jiwoo's stomach tightened. On screen, the main viewing window changed to show what the sensors detected. 5 massive warships appeared. They were each 3 times the size of the Aurora. Their hulls were dark purple with strange symbols glowing along the sides. They looked dangerous. They looked powerful. "Those aren't human ships," Tae-yang said quietly. "No, they're not," Jiwoo agreed. "Hana, try to hail them. Standard first contact protocol." Park Hana worked her console, sending greetings in all known languages, including the mathematical sequences. The universal peace signs. "Everything we have." They waited. Seconds felt like hours. Then the ships moved. They formed a circle around the Aurora, trapping it. "Captain, they're not responding to our messages," Hana said. Her voice stayed calm, but Jiwoo could hear the worry underneath. "Keep trying. Tae-yang, hold position. Don't make any sudden moves." The largest alien ship moved closer. A face appeared on the viewing screen. It made Jiwoo's breath catch. The creature was tall with gray-blue skin. It had 4 arms and eyes that glowed red. Its mouth was full of sharp teeth. When it spoke, the words came through the translation software. "Primitive vessel. You have entered Vrexian space. You will surrender immediately." Jiwoo stepped forward. She kept her voice steady and friendly. "I am Captain Lee Jiwoo of the Earth vessel Aurora. We come in peace. We mean no harm. We're explorers seeking friendship with new species." The alien's face twisted. It might have been a smile. Or a sneer. "I am Commander Vraltok of the Vrexian Empire. Your words mean nothing. You are weak. Your ship is small. You will surrender or you will be destroyed." "There's no need for violence," Jiwoo said. "We can discuss this. Share knowledge. Learn from each other." Vraltok laughed. The sound was harsh and cold. "You speak of learning? What could we learn from primitives like you?" "Humans, yes, we know of your kind. You only just discovered faster-than-light travel. Your weapons are pathetic. Your ships are toys. You are insects trying to fly with the eagles." Behind Jiwoo, her crew exchanged glances. She could feel their tension, but she kept her face calm. "We may be new to space travel, but we're intelligent. We're adaptable. We've survived on Earth for millions of years." "Earth," Vraltok said with disgust. "That heavy death world? We've seen your planet's data. The gravity would crush most civilized species. The diseases, the predators, the weather. You crawled from hell itself." He leaned closer to the screen. "But that doesn't make you strong. It makes you lucky. Your luck has run out." Jiwoo tried again. "Commander, please. There's no reason we can't resolve this peacefully. We'll leave your space. We won't return without invitation." "Too late for that," Vraltok said. "You've seen our fleet. You know our location. You're witnesses. The Vrexian Empire doesn't leave witnesses. We will board your ship. We will take your data. We will take your crew as slaves. Your choice is simple. Surrender and live as property or resist and die quickly." The transmission cut off. The alien ships moved closer. Jiwoo could see weapons ports opening on their hulls. Energy began to glow in those ports. They were preparing to fire. "Captain?" Tae-yang asked. His hand hovered over the flight controls. "What do we do?" Jiwoo stood still for a moment. She thought about her training, about the years of preparation, about all the scenarios they had practiced. Earth had hoped for friendly aliens. But Earth had also prepared for this. Humans had spent thousands of years fighting each other. They knew how war worked. They knew how violence worked. They had learned from experience, Hana, Jiwoo said quietly. Activate Protocol Omega, silent mode. Don't let them detect it. Park Hana's eyes widened. Captain, are you sure? Protocol Omega is, I'm sure. Do it now. Hana's fingers flew over her console. Deep in the Aurora's systems, hidden programs began to wake up. Security protocols activated. Weapon systems came online. Emergency defenses powered up. All of it happened quietly. The Vrexians wouldn't know until it was too late. Tae-yang, Jiwoo continued. When I give the signal, you know what to do. The young pilot nodded. Yes, Captain. I'm ready. A docking tube extended from the largest Vrexian ship. It moved toward the Aurora like a metal snake. It attached to the side airlock with a heavy clang that echoed through the hull. They're coming aboard, Hana reported. I count 20 soldiers. All armed. All wearing battle armor. Let them in, Jiwoo said. Her crew stared at her. Captain? Tae-yang asked. Jiwoo smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator. Let them in. We're going to be diplomatic. Right up until we're not. The airlock opened. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridor. The Vrexian soldiers entered the Aurora. They were huge, each one nearly 7 feet tall. Their armor was thick and covered with weapons. They carried energy rifles that hummed with power. They moved like they owned the place. Commander Vraltok entered last. He looked around the Aurora's bridge with contempt. This is your command center? It's so small, so primitive. Jiwoo stood in the center of the bridge. Her crew surrounded her. They looked calm. They looked ready. Commander, Jiwoo said, I'll ask one more time. Can we resolve this peacefully? Vraltok's laugh filled the bridge. Peacefully? You don't understand. The strong take what they want. The weak suffer. That's the law of the universe. You are weak. I see, Jiwoo said. That's unfortunate. Vraltok gestured to his soldiers. Disarm her. Disarm all of them. Take control of this ship. The Vrexian soldiers moved forward. Their weapons pointed at the human crew. Jiwoo slowly raised her hands above her head. The gesture looked like surrender. It looked like defeat. But Jiwoo's smile grew wider. That's your first mistake, she said softly. Commander Vraltok stared at the human captain. Her hands were raised high above her head. She looked surrendered. She looked defeated, but that smile on her face bothered him. It wasn't the smile of someone who had lost. It was something else. Something dangerous. What did you say? Vraltok demanded. I said that's your first mistake, Lee Jiwoo repeated. Her voice was calm, too calm. You assumed raising my hands meant surrender. The moment her hands reached their highest point, something clicked. It was a soft sound, barely audible. But everything changed. Red lights flashed throughout the Aurora. Alarms blared for 1 second, then stopped. Heavy metal doors slammed down from the ceiling. The bulkheads separated the Vrexian soldiers into small groups. 3 soldiers here, 4 soldiers there. Each group was isolated from the others. What is this? Vraltok shouted. He tried to contact his ship, but his communication device was dead. He looked at his rifle. The power indicator was dark. What did you do? Park Hana stood at her engineering console. Her fingers danced across the controls. Biometric locks, she explained cheerfully. The captain's raised hands triggered them. The locks recognized her hand position and activated our emergency protocols. Pretty clever, right? Vraltok tried to move, but his armor was heavy. Too heavy. The powered systems that usually helped him move were offline. My armor. My weapons. They're not working. Electromagnetic pulse generators, Hana continued. She seemed proud of her work. They're built into the walls, hidden behind the panels. When the captain gave the signal, they released a massive pulse. It fried all the electronic systems in your equipment. Your weapons, your armor, your communications, all dead. The Vrexian commander's face showed confusion, then fear. You planned this? You wanted us to board? Jiwoo lowered her hands. She walked toward Vraltok slowly. We hoped for peace. We really did. But humans learned a long time ago to prepare for war while praying for peace. Our ships aren't just diplomatic vessels. They're potential battlegrounds. Every corridor is designed to be defended. Every room can become a trap. Kim Tae-yang moved to the pilot station. His fingers flew over the controls. Captain, I'm rerouting all available power to maneuvering thrusters. We can move whenever you're ready. Good, Jiwoo said. Do it. The Aurora suddenly spun. The movement was violent and unexpected. The Vrexian soldiers, heavy in their unpowered armor, fell to the floor. They couldn't get up quickly. The armor that once made them strong now made them helpless. Inside the isolated sections, human crew members moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained for this. Every member of the diplomatic fleet learned combat. Not because they wanted to fight, but because space was dangerous, and sometimes peaceful people needed to know how to protect themselves. Lieutenant Cho Minji appeared in one corridor. She was small, barely 5 feet tall. A Vrexian soldier laughed when he saw her. He was twice her size. His armor might be dead, but he still had strength. He reached for her with his forearms. Minji didn't run. She moved forward. Her movements were fast and precise. She struck his knee joint with her boot. The armor there was weakest because it needed to bend. Something cracked. The soldier howled in pain. He fell. Minji was already gone, moving to help secure other areas. In another section, Engineer Kwon Do-hyun faced 2 Vrexian soldiers. They charged at him together. Do-hyun pressed a button on the wall. A panel opened. Inside was a fire suppression system, but instead of foam or water, it released pure oxygen. Then Do-hyun struck metal against metal, creating a spark. The oxygen ignited in a bright flash. It wasn't enough to seriously hurt the soldiers, but it blinded them. While they stumbled around, Do-hyun used a magnetic clamp to seal their armor joints. They couldn't move. They were trapped in their own equipment. On the bridge, Vraltok tried to stand. His armor weighed him down. On his home planet, the gravity was light. His species evolved in an easy environment. The armor helped him move on other worlds, but now without power, it was a prison. Jiwoo watched him struggle. Your armor is designed for low-gravity planets. You need power assistance to move in normal gravity. We don't, she was right. Humans moved easily. They had grown up on Earth where the gravity was strong. Their muscles were dense. Their bones were thick. What felt normal to them would exhaust most alien species. Vraltok finally managed to stand. He was breathing hard. You tricked us. No, Jiwoo corrected. You tricked yourselves. You saw a small ship. A small crew. You thought small meant weak. You forgot that sometimes small means efficient, specialized, deadly. Park Hana brought up a display on the main screen. It showed the inside of the Aurora. Every section was marked. Green lights showed where human crew members had secured areas. Red lights showed where Vrexian soldiers were trapped or contained. 17 of your soldiers are neutralized, Hana reported. 3 more are in corridors with vented atmosphere. They're trying to get to their boarding craft. Let them, Jiwoo said. But Hana, make sure your surprise package is ready. Hana grinned. Already done, Captain. They won't even notice it. Vraltok's red eyes widened. What package? What did you do? Nothing dangerous, Jiwoo assured him. Just some tracking devices. And maybe a few small programs that will copy your ship's data. We're curious about your technology, your language, your culture. You didn't want to share, so we're taking it. The commander's face showed shock. You're stealing our information? But you're supposed to be peaceful, diplomatic. Jiwoo's expression hardened. We tried peaceful. We tried diplomatic. You chose violence. You chose to treat us as slaves. Now you get to see what happens when you push humans too far. Taeyang called from his station. Captain, the remaining Vrexians are back on their boarding craft. They're trying to undock. Let them go, Jiwoo said. Release the docking clamps. The boarding craft separated from the Aurora with a hiss of escaping air. It moved back toward the main Vrexian ship. Inside, the 3 soldiers who escaped were panicking. They shouted warnings into their communicators. On the bridge of the Vrexian flagship, Admiral Kreshinar listened to the reports. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. A human ship defeated our boarding party? Impossible. Commander Vraltok report, but Vraltok couldn't answer. He was still on the Aurora, trapped in his dead armor, held at gunpoint by a human who looked far too calm. Jiwoo spoke into the communication system. Her voice broadcast to all the Vrexian ships. Attention, Vrexian fleet. This is Captain Lee Jiwoo. I have your commander. I have 17 of your soldiers. They're alive. They're unharmed, but they're my prisoners now. Silence answered her. Then Admiral Kreshinar's voice came through, angry and threatening. Release them immediately or we will destroy you. You could try, Jiwoo said. But let me tell you what will happen. The moment you fire on us, we'll vent Commander Vraltok and his soldiers into space. Your weapons might destroy the Aurora, but you'll kill your own people doing it. Is that what you want?" More silence. Jiwoo waited. She knew how military minds worked. They were the same across species. Honor, pride, the value of soldiers' lives. These were universal concerns. "What do you want?" Kreshnar finally asked. "I want you to listen," Jiwoo said. "Really listen. You called us weak. You called us primitive. You thought you could take our ship easily.
You were wrong.
We disabled your boarding party in minutes. We did it without killing anyone. We could have, but we didn't. Do you understand what that means?" Vraltok, still trapped on the bridge, spoke up. His voice was quiet. "It means they were holding back. They could have killed us all." "Exactly," Jiwoo said. "We have weapons you haven't seen. Tactics you don't understand. We come from a world where everything tries to kill us. The weather, the animals, the diseases. Even the plants are sometimes poisonous. We survived all of that. We thrived. We learned to adapt to anything." She walked closer to Vraltok. "You have advanced technology. Beautiful ships, powerful weapons. But you know what you don't have? Experience with real danger. Your species evolved on an easy world. You never had to struggle. You never had to adapt or die. You grew strong through technology, not through survival." Hana added her own observation. "Your security systems are good, but they're predictable. Your armor is impressive, but it has obvious weaknesses. Your weapons are powerful, but they depend entirely on energy. What happens when that energy is gone?" The realization showed on Vraltok's face. His species had become dependent on their technology. They had forgotten how to fight without it. Humans had never forgotten. Humans carried thousands of years of warfare in their cultural memory. "This is your second chance," Jiwoo said to the Vrexian fleet. "Your only chance. Leave now. Take your commander and your soldiers. Never come back to this system. Never threaten Earth or humans again. If you do, we'll show you what we're really capable of." The threat hung in the air like smoke. Admiral Kreshnar sat in his command chair aboard the Vrexian flagship. His forearms gripped the armrest tightly. His mind raced. A simple boarding operation had turned into a disaster. His elite soldiers were captured. His trusted commander was a prisoner, all defeated by a small human vessel. "Unacceptable," he growled. "Prepare all weapons. Target the human ship. We'll destroy them and accept the loss of our soldiers. Sometimes sacrifice is necessary." His weapons officer hesitated. "Admiral, Commander Vraltok is still aboard that ship." "Are you certain?" "I'm certain that we can't allow these humans to humiliate the Vrexian Empire." "Fire on my command." On the Aurora, Park Hana's sensors detected the energy buildup. "Captain, they're charging weapons. All 5 ships. They're going to fire." Lee Jiwoo expected this. Military leaders were often the same. Pride came before sense. "Hana, Environmental Protocol 7, section by section. Give our guests a taste of vacuum." "With pleasure," Hana said. Her fingers moved across her console. Throughout the Aurora, in the sealed sections where Vrexian soldiers were trapped, warning lights flashed. Then the air began to disappear. Pumps activated, pulling the atmosphere from those sections and storing it in tanks. The Vrexian soldiers panicked. They couldn't breathe. Their armor should have protected them, but the power was dead. The life support systems were offline. They clawed at their helmets, trying to seal them manually. Some managed it. Others didn't. On the bridge, Vraltok watched the monitors. He saw his soldiers struggling. "Stop this," he begged. "Please." "They're suffocating, are they?" Jiwoo asked calmly. "Hana, status report. All Vrexian soldiers have successfully sealed their helmets manually," Hana reported. "Their armor still has about 6 hours of reserve oxygen. They're uncomfortable, but they're fine. Nobody's dying." Jiwoo looked at Vraltok. "See, we know exactly what we're doing. Your armor has manual backup systems. We studied your technology before we even met you. Humans are good at gathering information. We're even better at using it." She opened a channel to the Vrexian flagship. "Admiral Kreshnar, your weapons are charged. Go ahead and fire if you want. But know this. The moment you do, I'll vent every section to space. Your soldiers will drift in vacuum for those 6 hours until their oxygen runs out. They'll die slowly, alone, afraid. Is your pride worth their lives?" The silence stretched long, too long. Jiwoo counted the seconds. She knew the Admiral was struggling with his decision. Finally, his voice came through, filled with barely controlled rage. Stand down, weapons, he ordered his fleet. Then to Jiwoo, you fight without honor. No, Jiwoo corrected. We fight to win. Honor is a luxury. Survival is a necessity. On Earth, we learned that lesson over and over again. The honorable warriors are dead. The practical ones survived to have children. Vreltok made a sound that might have been agreement. Jiwoo noticed. Something to add, Commander? The Vrexian looked at her. His red eyes showed respect now instead of contempt. You would have made a fine Vrexian warrior if you were stronger, bigger, less fragile. Fragile? Jiwoo raised an eyebrow. She walked up to him. Even in his massive armor, he towered over her. She barely reached his chest. Let me show you something about fragile. She moved fast. Her legs swept out, hitting the back of his knee joint where the armor was weakest. Vreltok fell hard. Before he could recover, Jiwoo had twisted one of his arms behind his back. The armor made him strong when it had power. Without power, it made him slow. Earth's gravity is 1.4 times your homeworld's gravity, Jiwoo said. She wasn't even breathing hard. I've been carrying around 40% more weight my entire life. Every step, every movement. My bones are denser than yours. My muscles are stronger. My cardiovascular system is more efficient. I'm not fragile. I'm compressed power. She released him and stepped back. Vreltok lay on the floor, stunned. Not from pain, but from understanding. Humans had evolved under pressure, literally. The weight of their world had shaped them into something tough. Kim Tae-yang spoke from the pilot station. Captain, we have movement. 3 Vrexian fighters are launching from their carriers. Of course they are, Jiwoo sighed. The Admiral wants to test us again. Hana, release our countermeasures. Show them what we've prepared. Park Hana worked her console with the skill of an artist. Hidden panels on the Aurora's hull opened. Small drones emerged. They weren't weapons. They were much more clever than that. The Vrexian fighters approached, their weapons hot and ready. They expected the Aurora to run or to fire back with primitive missiles. Instead, the drones flew directly at them. The fighters tried to shoot the drones down, but there were too many. The drones attached to the fighter hulls like metal parasites. What are those things? One Vrexian pilot shouted. Signal jammers, Hana explained to Vreltok. Each drone broadcasts electromagnetic noise. It interferes with targeting systems, communications, even basic sensors. Your fighters are flying blind now. The Vrexian pilots struggled. Their advanced equipment was useless. They couldn't see, couldn't aim, couldn't even talk to each other. They were forced to retreat back to their carriers. Another human trick, Vreltok said. He almost sounded impressed. You use technology against technology. We use whatever works, Jiwoo said. That's the human way. We don't have the best weapons. We don't have the strongest bodies. But we have imagination, creativity, stubbornness. We refuse to quit. Ever. She walked to the front of the bridge and looked out at the Vrexian fleet. Do you know what the most dangerous thing about humans is? It's not our weapons or our tricks. It's that we never stop learning. Every fight teaches us something new. Every defeat makes us stronger. You could destroy the Aurora right now. Kill all of us. But what would you gain? Earth knows we're here. If we don't report back, they'll send more ships. Better ships, and those humans will know everything that happened here. They'll study your tactics, your weaknesses. They'll come prepared. Vreltok pulled himself to his feet. It took effort. The heavy armor was exhausting without power. You're saying that fighting you is pointless. I'm saying that fighting us is expensive, Jiwoo corrected. Sure, you might win. Your fleet is bigger. Your weapons are more advanced. You could probably destroy us eventually. But how many of your ships would we take down first? How many of your soldiers would die? And for what? For pride? For the principle of showing strength? She turned to face him directly. Or you could leave, go home. Tell your people that humans are not worth the trouble. Find easier prey. There are lots of species in the galaxy. Why waste resources on the one that fights back? It was a logical argument. Cold, calculated, very human. Vreltok realized that this captain wasn't speaking from emotion. She was speaking from strategy. She was giving the Vrexians an exit, a way to leave without completely losing face. The Admiral won't listen, Vreltok said. He's too proud. Then help me convince him, Jiwoo replied. You've seen what we can do. You've felt it firsthand. Tell him the truth. Tell him that humans are dangerous. Not because we're strong, but because we're adaptable. Before Vreltok could answer, an alarm sounded. Hana's eyes went wide. Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup. The Vrexian flagship is charging something big, much bigger than normal weapons. Their planet cracker, Vraltok whispered. It's a weapon designed to destroy entire worlds. The Admiral is going to use it on you. Taeyang's hands flew over his controls. Captain, we can't outrun that kind of weapon. It's too powerful. Too fast, Jiwoo's mind raced. This was the moment she had feared. The moment when talking stopped working. The moment when survival depended on action. Hana, how long until it fires? 90 seconds. Can we jump to faster than light speed in time? Not with our engines in their current configuration. It would take at least 2 minutes to charge the drive. Jiwoo made her decision. Then we don't run. Hana, do we still have those mining charges in Cargo Bay 3? Hana's eyes lit up with understanding. Yes, Captain. 6 of them. They're designed to crack open asteroids for mineral extraction. Load them into the torpedo tubes. Taeyang, plot a course directly at the flagship. Full speed. Both crew members stared at her. Captain? Taeyang asked. You want to fly toward the weapon? I want to get so close that they can't fire without destroying themselves, Jiwoo explained. They won't expect us to charge at them. Nobody's that crazy. Except humans, Vraltok said quietly. There was definitely respect in his voice now. Except humans, Jiwoo agreed with a fierce smile. Strap in, everyone. This is going to be rough. The Aurora's engines roared to life. The small ship accelerated directly toward the massive Vrexian flagship. On the flagship's bridge, Admiral Kreshnar watched in disbelief. They're coming straight at us. Have they lost their minds? Should we abort the weapon charge, Admiral? His weapons officer asked. No. Fire the moment it's ready. We'll vaporize them. But the Aurora was fast, much faster than the bulky Vrexian warships. It closed the distance rapidly. 60 seconds. 45 seconds. 30 seconds. Fire torpedoes, Jiwoo commanded. The mining charges launched. They weren't designed as weapons, but they were explosives. They streaked toward the flagship. The Vrexian point defense systems tried to shoot them down. They destroyed 4. But 2 got through. The charges hit the flagship's hull and exploded. They were powerful enough to crack asteroids. Against a ship's armor, they punched the Vrexian flagship limped through space. Its hull showed 2 gaping wounds where the Aurora's mining charges had struck. Emergency crews worked frantically to seal the breaches. Admiral Kreshnar stood on his damaged bridge, his face twisted with rage and confusion. How? He demanded. How did one small ship do this to us? His tactical officer pulled up data on the main screen. Admiral, I've analyzed their attack pattern. They used commercial mining explosives. Not even military weapons. They turned civilian equipment into offensive tools. Impossible, Kreshnar said. But the evidence floated outside his window. His flagship was wounded. His boarding party was captured. His fighter squadron was disabled by simple jamming drones. One human ship had fought his entire fleet to a standstill. On the Aurora, Lee Jiwoo watched the Vrexian ships carefully. They weren't moving, weren't attacking, just sitting there in space trying to recover. She had a small window of time. She needed to use it wisely. Hana, she said quietly, did your data mining programs work? Do we have their information? Park Hana nodded. Her face glowed with excitement. Everything. Their language databases. Their star charts. Their technology specifications. Even some of their military tactics. When those soldiers went back to their boarding craft, our programs copied everything they had access to. Good. Send it all to Earth Command. Maximum priority. Encrypt it with our best codes. Already done, Captain. The data is on its way. It'll reach Earth in about 6 hours through the relay network. Jiwoo felt relief wash over her. Even if the Aurora was destroyed now, Earth would know about the Vrexians. Would know their capabilities. Would know how to fight them. Information was often more valuable than weapons. Captain, Kim Taeyang said from his station. I'm picking up something strange. Long-range sensors are showing ships entering the system. Lots of ships. Vrexian reinforcements? Jiwoo asked. I don't think so. The signatures are different. They're human ships. Jiwoo's heart jumped. Human, but we're deep in unexplored space. How? Hana checked her instruments. Captain, do you remember those emergency beacons we activated when the Vrexians first surrounded us? Standard protocol. They must have reached a patrol fleet. The sensors showed more detail now. 7 human ships emerging from faster-than-light travel. They were military vessels. not diplomatic ships like the Aurora. These were destroyers and cruisers, built for combat, armed with the latest weapons Earth could provide. The lead ship hailed the Aurora. A woman's face appeared on the screen. She was older than Jiwoo, perhaps 50, with gray hair and hard eyes. She wore the uniform of Earth's defense fleet. "This is Captain Choi Min-seo of the EDS Indomitable. Captain Lee, are you in need of assistance?" Jiwoo almost laughed. "Almost. Captain Choi, your timing is perfect. We're currently in a standoff with 5 Vrexian warships. They attempted to board us. We captured their boarding party and damaged their flagship." Choi Min-seo's eyebrows rose. "You did what? With a diplomatic vessel?" "It's a long story, Captain. But yes, we've held them off so far, but they have superior numbers and firepower. We could use backup." "You've got it," Choi said. Her expression turned stern. "All ships, battle formation Delta. Target the Vrexian vessels. Weapons hot, but hold fire until my command." The 7 human ships moved into position. They were smaller than the Vrexian warships, but they moved with precision and speed. They formed a protective screen around the Aurora, facing the alien fleet. On the Vrexian flagship, alarms blared again. "Admiral, we have multiple new contacts. Human military vessels. 7 of them." Kreshnar felt something he hadn't felt in years. Uncertainty. 7 ships? Where did they come from? "Unknown, Admiral. They must have been hiding in the system, waiting." It wasn't true, but Kreshnar didn't know that. To him it looked like a trap, like the humans had planned this all along. The diplomatic ship was bait. The military ships were the real threat. How could he have been so foolish? Commander Vraltok, still trapped on the Aurora's bridge, watched the human reinforcements arrive. "You knew they were coming?" "No," Jiwoo admitted. "I hoped they would come. I activated our emergency beacon when you first surrounded us, but I wasn't sure anyone would receive it in time. We were ready to fight alone if we had to." "Fight alone against 5 warships?" Vraltok shook his head. "That's insane." "That's human," Jiwoo corrected. Captain Choi opened a general channel that reached all the ships in the area. Her voice was broadcast to both human and Vrexian vessels. "Attention, Vrexian fleet. This is Captain Choi Min-seo of Earth's Defense Fleet. You have attacked one of our diplomatic vessels. You have attempted to take our citizens as slaves. These actions constitute acts of war. You have one opportunity to avoid further conflict. Release any captive humans. Withdraw from this system immediately. Do not return. If you refuse, we will respond with overwhelming force." Kreshnar listened. His tactical officer provided him with analysis. "Admiral, the human ships are smaller than ours. Their weapons appear less advanced. But their formation is excellent. They're positioned to support each other. If we attack, they'll focus fire on individual ships. They could destroy us one at a time. Recommendations?" Kreshnar asked. "Withdraw, Admiral. We're damaged. They have reinforcements. We don't know how many more human ships might be in the area." It was sound advice, but it was also humiliating. The Vrexian Empire had never retreated from a weaker species, never shown fear. But Kreshnar was a military commander, not a politician. He understood when a battle was lost. "Open a channel to the human captain," he ordered. Choi Min-seo's face appeared on his screen. She looked strong, confident, dangerous. "Captain, I am Admiral Kreshnar. I wish to discuss terms." "There are no terms," Choi said flatly. "You leave now." "That's not negotiable." "What about Commander Vraltok and his soldiers? They'll be returned to you unharmed. But first you're going to do something for us." Kreshnar felt his pride burning. "And what is that?" "You're going to take a message back to the Vrexian Empire. You're going to tell them exactly what happened here, how a single human diplomatic ship resisted your boarding party, how we defended ourselves with mining equipment and ingenuity, how we're not afraid of you." "Can you do that?" The Admiral wanted to refuse, wanted to order his ships to attack. But he looked at his damaged flagship, at his captured soldiers, at the confident human vessels surrounding him. He had no good options. "I will deliver your message," he said quietly. "Good," Choi replied. "Captain Lee, release the Vrexian prisoners." On the Aurora, Jiwoo nodded to Hana. "Restore power to their armor. Return atmosphere to the sealed sections. Let them go." The Vrexian soldiers felt their equipment come back online. Their armor powered up, life support activated. They could move again, could breathe easily, but they didn't attack. They had learned their lesson. They had seen what humans could do. Vraltok stood slowly. He looked at Jiwoo with an expression that was hard to read. You really would have fought us alone, wouldn't you? Even without those reinforcements? Yes, Jiwoo said simply. Why? You could have surrendered. You could have tried to escape. Why fight when the odds were so against you? Jiwoo thought about her answer carefully. Because surrender isn't in our nature. On Earth we have a saying, it's better to die on your feet than live on your knees. We fought wars for thousands of years, against each other mostly, but we learned something from all that fighting. We learned that freedom is worth any price, that dignity matters, that sometimes you have to stand up to bullies even when they're bigger than you. She walked closer to him. Your species conquered the stars with technology. That's impressive, but you never had to struggle. You never had to fight for survival. You became strong, but you never learned what strength really means. It's not about size or power. It's about will, about refusing to give up. Humans have that. We're stubborn. We're creative. We're dangerous when cornered. And we never ever forget. Vraltok understood. Perhaps for the first time he truly understood what humans were. They weren't primitives. They were predators who had climbed to the top of their food chain through sheer determination. They had taken a harsh world and made it their home. They had fought countless battles and learned from everyone. I will tell the Empire about you, he said. I'll tell them that humans are not to be underestimated, that you're more dangerous than you appear. Will they listen? Jiwoo asked. Some will. Others won't. That's always the way with empires. Some are wise. Others are fools. He moved toward the airlock. His soldiers followed him. Before leaving, he turned back one last time. Captain Lee, I hope we don't meet again as enemies. So do I, Jiwoo said honestly. But if we do, I'll be ready. The Vrexian soldiers left the Aurora. They returned to their boarding craft and flew back to their ships. The Vrexian fleet began to move. Slowly. Carefully. They activated their faster-than-light drives and disappeared into the darkness of space. Captain Choi's face appeared on the Aurora's screen again. Captain Lee, impressive work. You held off an entire fleet with a diplomatic vessel. Command is going to want a full report. Yes, Captain. I'll prepare one immediately. There's something else, Choi said. Her expression became more serious. The data you sent to Earth, the Vrexian information. The Vrexian fleet traveled through faster-than-light space. Inside the damaged flagship, Admiral Kreshinar sat alone in his quarters. His forearms hung limp at his sides. He stared at the wall, seeing nothing. His mind replayed the battle over and over. Not really a battle. A humiliation. A single human ship had defeated his boarding party, had damaged his flagship, had forced him to retreat. The Empire would hear about this. Questions would be asked. His career might be over. Worse, his honor was stained. Commander Vraltok entered without knocking. He looked tired. His armor was clean now, but he still felt the phantom weight of it without power. Admiral, we need to talk. About what? Kreshinar asked. His voice was hollow, empty. About what we tell the Empire, about what really happened back there. We tell them the truth. We encountered humans. We attempted to take their vessel. We failed, simple. Vraltok shook his head. If we only tell them that, they'll send a bigger fleet. More ships. More soldiers. They'll want revenge. And they'll make the same mistakes we did. What mistakes? Kreshinar demanded. We were following standard protocol. Board the ship. Take prisoners. Secure the technology. No, Vraltok said firmly. Our mistake was assuming humans were weak because their ship was small, because their weapons seemed primitive, because they asked for peace. He sat down across from the Admiral. I was on their bridge. I talked to their captain. I watched how they fought. Admiral, we don't understand what humans are. Enlighten me then. Vraltok chose his words carefully. Humans evolved on a death world. Their planet has gravity that would crush most species. Their atmosphere is toxic to many life forms. Their weather is violent and unpredictable. They have diseases that kill without mercy, predators that hunt them. Even their plants can be poisonous, so they're hardy. So what? So everything about them was shaped by survival, Vraltok explained. They're not just hardy, they're adaptable, creative, stubborn. They've been fighting and killing each other for thousands of years. They've refined warfare into an art form. They've learned every trick, every strategy, every way to win against superior odds. Kreshinar listened. He was starting to understand. Their ship wasn't really a diplomatic vessel. Vraltok continued. It was a trap. Every system was designed to be weaponized. Every corridor could become a battlefield. They built it knowing that someone might attack them. They were ready. We weren't. But we have better technology, Kreshinar protested. More powerful weapons, stronger armor. Technology that depends on power, Vraltok pointed out. They disabled it all with one electromagnetic pulse. Then our advantages became disadvantages. Our armor was too heavy. Our weapons were useless. Meanwhile, humans fought with their bare hands, with mining tools, with their environment. They didn't need advanced technology because they had something better. They had experience. The Admiral was silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke. What do you suggest we tell the Empire? The truth, all of it. That humans are dangerous. Not because they're strong, but because they're clever. Not because they have the best weapons, but because they can turn anything into a weapon. We need to warn the Empire. Humans are not prey. They're predators. Kreshinar nodded slowly. You're right. I'll include all of this in my report. But I don't know if anyone will listen. The Empire has been conquering weaker species for centuries. They're confident, arrogant even. Then we have to make them listen, Vraltok said. Because if they don't, if they send another fleet to attack humans, it won't end well. Those 7 human military ships we saw, they were just a patrol. A tiny fraction of Earth's defense fleet. Imagine what a full battle fleet could do. Back on the Aurora, the crew was celebrating. Not loudly, not wildly, but there was relief in the air. They had survived. They had won, and they were going home. Li Jiwoo stood at the viewing window watching the stars. Her reflection looked back at her. She looked older somehow, tired but also satisfied. Kim Tae-young approached. Captain, we're on course for Earth. We should arrive in about 3 days. Good, Jiwoo said. Make sure to log everything that happened. Every detail. Command will want a complete report. Already done, Captain. I've been recording since the Vrexians first appeared. He hesitated. Captain, can I ask you something? Of course. When you raised your hands, triggering all those systems, were you scared? Jiwoo smiled. Terrified. But being scared isn't the same as being weak. Fear keeps us alert, keeps us careful. The trick is not letting it control you. And if the reinforcements hadn't arrived? If Captain Choi's fleet hadn't shown up? Then we would have kept fighting, Jiwoo said simply. We would have used every trick we had, every weapon, every strategy. We might have lost. Probably would have lost, actually. But we would have made them pay for it. We would have made them remember that humans don't surrender easily. Park Hana joined them. She carried a data pad. Captain, I've finished analyzing the information we copied from the Vrexians. It's fascinating. Their technology is advanced, but it's also fragile. It depends on complex power systems, complex computer networks. If you disrupt those systems, everything falls apart. That's their weakness, Jiwoo said. They've forgotten how to fight without their technology. They've become dependent on it. Exactly, Hana agreed. Meanwhile, humans can fight with sticks and stones if we have to. We've done it before. We never forgot how to be basic. How to be primitive when necessary. It's ironic, Tae-yang observed. They called us primitive. But our ability to be primitive is actually our strength. Jiwoo nodded. That's the human advantage. We can work at any level, high technology or low technology, complex strategies or simple tactics. We adapt, always adapt. 3 days later, the Aurora entered Earth's solar system. The planet appeared on the viewing screen, blue and green and beautiful. Home. Jiwoo felt emotion tighten her throat. They had left as explorers. They were returning as warriors. A message came from Earth Command. Aurora, this is Control. Welcome home. You have clearance for direct approach to the orbital station. The Secretary General wants to meet with you personally. Acknowledge, Control, Jiwoo responded. It's good to be home. The orbital station was huge, a city in space that housed thousands of people. The Aurora docked smoothly. As Jiwoo and her crew disembarked, they were met by a crowd. People cheered. Cameras flashed. News reporters shouted questions. A woman in an elegant suit pushed through the crowd. She was tall, with silver hair and a commanding presence. This was Secretary General Kim Yuna, the leader of Earth's unified government. Captain Lee, she said warmly, on behalf of Earth, thank you. You and your crew have done something remarkable. We just did our duty, Secretary General. You did much more than that, Kim Yuna said. You showed the galaxy who we are, what we're capable of. The data you recovered has already proven invaluable. We now know about the Vrexian Empire, their strengths, their weaknesses. If they ever threaten us again, we'll be ready. She led Jiwoo to a private conference room, away from the cameras and crowds. Inside, military officers and government officials waited. Maps and data displays covered the walls. Tell us everything, one general said. Every detail. Jiwoo spent hours explaining. The first contact, the Vrexian demands, the boarding party, the fight, the reinforcements, the retreat. She left nothing out. When she finished, the room was silent. Finally, the general spoke. You took enormous risks, Captain. Yes, sir. But I had no choice. They were going to enslave us or kill us. Either way, we had to fight. You could have tried to escape. Run away. Run where? Jiwoo asked. They were faster than us. Had better sensors. They would have caught us. Fighting was our only option, and honestly, I'm glad we did. They needed to learn that humans aren't easy targets. Secretary General Kim Yuna smiled. I agree. The Vrexians thought they could intimidate us. Instead, they got a lesson in human stubbornness. Now, here's the important question. Do you think they'll come back? Jiwoo considered carefully. Some might. The proud ones. The foolish ones. But others will remember. We'll warn their people. We hurt them. Embarrassed them. They won't forget that. Most will probably avoid us. And if they don't avoid us, if they come in force, then we fight, Jiwoo said firmly. And we win. Because that's what humans do. We survive, we adapt, we overcome. It's who we are. It's who we've always been. The room erupted in discussion. Plans were made. Defense strategies developed. New weapons designed. Earth was preparing, not for conquest but for survival, for protection. Later, Jiwoo returned to her quarters on the station. She was exhausted. But before she could rest, her communication panel beeped. A message from deep space, from the Vrexian Empire. She opened it cautiously. Commander Vraltok's face appeared on the screen. He looked different somehow. Less arrogant, more thoughtful. Captain Lee, he said, I wanted to contact you personally. To say something. My report to the Empire included everything that happened. Everything I learned about humans. Some will listen. Some won't, but I wanted you to know. You changed my perspective. You showed me that strength comes in many forms, he paused. There's something else. The Empire is divided now. Some want revenge. Want to attack Earth with overwhelming force. Others, like me, argue for caution. For leaving humans alone. We're in a civil debate. It may take years to resolve,